Hello and welcome to Portland Union Station. Today we're heading up to Seattle with Amtrak Cascades on board one of their Talgo 8 train sets. First opened in 1896, Portland's Union Station has remained largely unchanged in its 127 years of service. Initially serving the Northern Pacific, Union Pacific, and Southern Pacific railroads, the station saw as many as 90 daily trains in the early 20th century. Today, the station serves Amtrak Cascades intercity trains, Amtrak's Coast Starlight, and the southern leg of the Empire Builder. Connections are also available to the local Max Light Rail network, Portland Streetcar, and multiple local and intercity bus lines. The most iconic feature of Portland's Union Station is the massive clock tower standing high above the surrounding building. The 150-foot tall tower includes four 12-foot diameter clock faces, the hour and minute hands of which are 5 and 6 feet long respectively. The neon Go By Train and Union Station signs were added in 1948. Heading through the front doors, we find ourselves in an absolutely gorgeous waiting hall. The hall was remodeled in 1930, a project which featured marble shipped directly from Italy. The coffered ceiling brings the room together, the hall illuminated by the many light fixtures descending from the support beams. At the rear of the station are the ticketing desks and an old departure board, which lists all of the north and southbound trains. Below are a selection of model Amtrak coaches and private cars, the main clock found just above. Figuring out where things are in this station is super easy, as everything in the main hall is labeled with a neon sign. I don't think there's any other station in the US that does signage like this, and it's a fantastic touch for sure, pairing perfectly with the neon signs on the clock tower outside. For passengers wanting a quick snack, drink, or souvenir from their travels, a convenience store is found just off the main hall. Inside are any number of day-of travel essentials, plus a ton of different Amtrak and railway souvenirs. Portland is a smoke stop for trains continuing north from Eugene, Oregon, which means we'll have around 15 minutes after our train's arrival before boarding begins. With that in mind, we can actually leave the station to get a fantastic view of our Talgo train set pulling in. Just south of the main building is a pedestrian bridge across the tracks, which not only provides a great vantage point to watch our train arrive, but it also gives us yet another view of the beautiful Portland station. The horn of a P-42 DC rings out from across the river, and soon from behind the trees crawls Amtrak Cascades Train 500. Leading Train 500 today is P-42 DC number 81, with Talgo 8 train set Mount Jefferson in tow. Our train squeals to a halt and we can run back inside to get ready for boarding. A quick scan of our ticket and we're allowed out onto the platforms. Mount Jefferson is one of two Talgo Series 8 train sets operated by Amtrak Cascades. Manufactured by Talgo in 2012 and 2013, these Spanish train sets are 13 cars long with a cab car and 12 coaches. Unlike traditional trains, Talgos use shared bogies, with independent wheels on either side of the train. This design reduces wear on the railway and removes oscillations at higher speeds caused by solid axles. The removal of a connected axle allows each car to run significantly lower to the ground, lowering the center of gravity. The most innovative feature of Talgo train sets is their passive tilting technology. This allows Talgo trains to run faster over existing infrastructure. The system works by using free-floating car bodies that pivot atop suspension points, the rotation of which is made easier by their lowered center of gravity. Reaching the first open coach car, we can ascend the steps of our European train set. After finding a seat and getting comfortable, the doors slide shut and our train rolls out of Portland, crossing under the Broadway and Fremont bridges as we leave the city behind. As we head out of Union Station, let's take a look at our route up to Seattle. Our journey begins heading north out of Portland, riding up the bank of the Willamette River before quickly crossing over into Washington. The tracks mirror the Columbia River from Vancouver to Longview, the river then breaking west as we continue north. Our train curves through the valley carved by the Cowlitz River, the mountains of the Washington Wilderness our guide through Centralia. We hit Lacey and Tacoma, the tracks turning east before a sharp turn north through Sumner. It's then a fairly straight shot into downtown Seattle, our train pulling to a stop at King Street Station at the end of the line. We'll cover a total of 187 miles on our ride today, with a travel time of 3 hours and 25 minutes. It's quite foggy as we head out of Portland, the tops of the bridge over the Willamette obscured in the haze. What's usually a great view of the Portland skyline in the mountains is limited to just the water and the shipyard beyond. The Columbia River crossing follows quickly after, the halfway point marking our transition from Oregon to Washington. Vancouver is our first stop heading north, the Washington Station the turning point for the Empire Builder to Chicago. Coach class on Amtrak's Talgos is operated in a 2x2, with 6 rows of seats for a total of 24 passengers per coach. Each seat offers around 6 inches of legroom, a bit of extra space found beneath the next row for a backpack or smaller bags. The seat back pocket uses a plastic backing instead of a net, inside of which are the safety information cards for our Talgo Series 8 train. Flipping up the latch releases the tray table. It's large enough for a laptop, but it's certainly seen better days and could really use a deep clean. Add seat power is provided through 2 outlets located below the central armrest. Above each row are 2 LED reading lights. Luggage racks are located above both sides of the train and are deep enough to store even the largest of suitcases, although actually getting one up there over the aisle seat is definitely a chore. Beside the seat are the seat adjustment and entertainment controls. Pushing the lever down allows the seat to slide forward around 4 inches, which isn't great, but it's better than nothing. These coach seats are much slimmer than traditional Amtrak seats, which means they're not nearly as comfortable. The upholstery in our row is fraying quite badly around the lumbar area and seat bottom, and with cushioning that's giving out with age, these coaches definitely need a refresh. For passengers with disabilities, an accessible seat is located at the end of each coach. The seat includes extra space for a wheelchair and has some pretty cool controls. For starters, there's a cafe car attendant button found next to the regular assistance button, which means passengers seated here don't have to traverse the train to get a snack or drink. Beside that is the wheelchair lock and the coolest feature, the remote. The remote includes the media controls usually found beside each seat, plus large user-friendly buttons for the reading light and cafe attendant call button. It's honestly great to see such an inclusive seating option. The speeds begin to pick up as we head north, our train reaching 75 miles per hour. Although my GPS wasn't working properly, the train's onboard speedometer was, the multi-segment display in our coach reading out the cruising speed, time, car number, and next stop. At these speeds, the tilting system begins to kick in, although it's quite hard to notice. Because it's a passive system, the train takes a while to adjust to the changing forces. Each train is also limited to a max tilt angle of 3 degrees, so even at maximum tilt, it's difficult to tell if the train is actually tilting. The fog begins to lift as we pass Southwest Washington Regional Airport, our train pulling to a stop in Kelso a few minutes later. If you're enjoying our travels on Amtrak Cascades, why not hit that subscribe button? It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. I also want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my patrons and channel members. Y'all are amazing and I cannot thank you enough for your incredible support. If you too want your name in the video or just want to support the channel in more ways than one, then head on over to the links in the description below. With the sun out, the Washington landscapes become a sight to behold. The hills rise and fall beside the tracks, the evergreen trees standing high above. The cafe car on our Talgo train set is situated between coach and business class towards the rear of the train. Entering the car, we leave the Spanish elegance behind for American practicality. The car feels more like an industrial kitchen than a cafe, with stainless steel appliances stretching from floor to ceiling. The menu itself is fairly similar to the rest of Amtrak's network, the cafe car serving a variety of snacks, drinks, and a few larger meal options. Just beyond the cafe car, we find a car unique to the Talgos, a lounge car. The short nature of each Talgo car means that the serving and seating areas of the cafe car must be separated. Laid out in a 2x1, the lounge car is more akin to business class than coach, but with the headrests removed. In the center of each seating group is a large table with lights above and power ports below. The dedicated lounge car is great as it provides a quiet place to work, snack, or just chill without having to deal with the constant flow of passengers in and out of the cafe. Returning to our seat, rural Washington continues to roll past the window. Although mostly lined by trees, the foliage breaks occasionally for a glimpse of a mountain above or river below. The bathroom on our Talgo coach is located in the forward vestibule. Stepping inside, we find ourselves in a rather large accessible facility. Although this is a European-designed train, the bathroom feels very much like an Amtrak facility with the usual suite of bathroom fixtures. The sink works well with plenty of soap, paper towels, and toilet paper. An electric hand dryer is found beside the sink for a greener alternative, beside which are the two 120-volt outlets. The bathroom is fine for what it needs to do. I was hoping for a Talgo exclusive facility, but it feels like every other Amtrak bathroom, so I'm a little disappointed. As our train wraps around Lacey, we reach the beginning of the Point Defiance bypass. The 14.5-mile line provides a straight shot between Lacey and Tacoma, bypassing the Point Defiance rail line, hence the name. The bypass saves trains an estimated 15 minutes between Portland and Seattle. Unfortunately, what was supposed to be a step forward for rail travel in the Northwest took a turn for the worse on opening day. On December 18, 2017, Amtrak Cascades Train 501 was running the inaugural service from Seattle to Portland via the bypass when it derailed while approaching the bridge over I-5. The train was traveling at 80 miles per hour when it reached the 30-mile-per-hour curve, causing the lead locomotive and all 12 Talgo Series 6 coaches to derail. The The lead locomotive SC-44 Charger 1402 and 6 of the 12 coaches went down the embankment west of the bridge. Only the trailing locomotive P-42 DC number 181 remained on the tracks. Of the 77 passengers and 6 crew members, 57 people were injured, and unfortunately, 3 lost their lives in the accident. After 2 years of investigation, the probable cause of the accident was determined to be the Regional Transit Authority's failure to effectively mitigate the curve and their lack of training provided to the train's engineer. After repairs were made to the line, passenger service resumed on November 18th of 2021. Exiting the tracks of the bypass, our train pulls to a stop in Tacoma. About 1,000 feet from the tracks lies the massive Tacoma Dome, the arena used for a variety of sporting events and concerts. The final few miles transition from rural to suburban as we reach the outskirts of Seattle. Suburban turns to urban as we approach the city center, our train coming to a stop at Seattle's King Street Station. Pushing the button, the door slides open and we can disembark onto the platforms. Reaching the end of the platform, we find that Amtrak's other Talgo set is standing by for its southbound run later this afternoon. These 2 train sets are what remains of a fleet of 7 trains across 2 generations. After the Point Defiance accident, the Series 6 trains were removed from service, leaving the Series 8s to carry the torch. With our journey now at an end, we can head inside Seattle's King Street Station, where we'll bring today's video to a close. Next week, we'll be right back here in Seattle to climb aboard Amtrak's Empire Builder for a 46-hour, 2,200-mile odyssey across the northern United States. I hope y'all are ready for one of North America's greatest rail adventures, because this one is gonna be huge. If you're new around here, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. If you want to go the extra mile with your support, then check out the channel's Patreon or become a channel member. If you too want your name in the video, access to exclusive weekly posts, and even the opportunity to vote on future videos, then click the links in the top right or in the description below to learn more. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Thanks for riding with me, and I'll see you in the next one.